Today I'll be focusing on Swain's laning phase, specifically the melee matchups. They are usually Swain's best matchups, and I'd like to show you some tips on what to do and some tips of what not to do in these lanes. Laning phase is the most important part of the game, as you will need to have a strong foundation to be able to carry later in the game. Starting off first with Talon. Important to note in this matchup is the only way that Talon can trade with you is if he hits his W on you, the Rake ability. That applies 2 stacks of his passive, so he only needs his Q or his ultimate to proc his passive with an auto attack. So if you manage to dodge his W and wait it out, you will win every single trade that you go for. Wait for him to use his W to push out the wave. Once his W returns to him, there is your window of opportunity to go in and Q spam him. Weave in orders with your Qs for maximum damage with Aerie. Keep going for safe, short trades. As he uses his last refillable potion, he has no more healing left in his kit, so we are on the home stretch. No more healing, now let's go and push for the kill. Because of the trades we had taken earlier, he had ran out of his refillable potions, which means he's in lethal range. Walk up to him, Q him as much as possible. You can see I'm walking in very close to melee range. That's because I'm very confident with the ignite and a point blank Q to the face, he should die. A good habit to get into, once we kill him, instantly look to push out the wave. We want to push our minions to his turret while getting all his minions. That means he loses a lot of gold and XP. We are building a lead, a gold and XP lead. Come back to lane, and we see my jungler is fighting their jungler in a very aggressive invade. With Swain's W, you don't have to move to participate in a fight. Keep looking, and we managed to secure a very lucky kill. But I wasn't paying attention to the Pyke's roams. Very aggressive support who loves roaming, kind of like a bard. I get caught off, aggressive play by Brand. I bit off for more than I can chew. One mistake does not lose you the match. Try your best to stick in there, keep your mental good, and push on forward. You can still look to kill your laner. He didn't get a kill in the situation, so he is as weak as the last time we saw him. Walk back to lane, dust yourself off, and let's push for the win. Now that I've returned to the lane, I am not playing so far back that I'm giving him time to free farm. I am standing in front of his minions trying to harass him when he goes for CS. I am respecting his W, but I'm not playing too afraid. We get a very fortunate E onto him, pull him in, walk up, point blank Q to the face with Ignite, and that is more than enough to kill him. When you have a lead versus one of these melee champions, don't be afraid to exert your lead. If we were even, I would play a little bit further back. Maybe don't want to go as close as I did here, but because we have the lead, we can afford to make that type of aggressive play. Push out for the free plate because there's a few minion orders away, then take a good reset. With this gold lead, it should be very easy for you to transition your lead to other lanes. Now this stage, the laning phase is done. We've killed our laner twice, we could beat him in a 1v1, and if the jungler comes, you could possibly beat them in the 1v2. But this is how you should play the Talon matchup. Next, let's look at a more difficult matchup, being the Yasuo matchup. Yasuo is one of the harder melee matchups because of his high mobility and wind wall, meaning hitting your E is very inconsistent. This way, we have to go for Q first. Your Q is a laser, so it goes through the wind wall. This way you can get guaranteed damage without the risk of your skill shot not landing. For us to win this lane, it's very important that we notice wave management. Look at the first few minions. I'm not queuing them or autoing them as they come along. I am only last hitting them. This is by design. The reason being, Yasuo's dash can only work if he's near your minions, meaning if the minion wave is not near him, he has no dash. That means he's not mobile, very easy target for ganks. So the point of this lane is to keep the minion wave by your side of the tower, next to your tower. That way, he has no room to keep dashing. If our minion wave and his minion wave crash by his tower, he can E through the entirety of the wave as the minions come from down the lane. He'll E through the entire wave to attack us, then he'll E straight back. Think of it like a ladder. Use your minions like a ladder. Yasuo will use the ladder, go up it, attack you, and go straight down. Try and shorten this ladder by keeping it on your side of the map. That means he has no room to do anything. Always make sure to use your auto attack to proc his shield when his passive shield bar is fully stacked. You don't want to waste mana queuing somebody that isn't going to do damage. His shield is just going to proc it. So, always use the auto attack, wait for the shield to expire, and then go for your Q. This is all about small, efficient trades. When you have Ignite like we have here, we only need a couple of small, efficient trades to get him into lethal range. Now, because of where we have kept the minion wave right by our tower, Yasuo has to push up really far. This has caught the attention of my Renekton, who is coming down for a gank. Don't push up too far, we throw an E, gets windward off, that's perfectly fine. Look to use your W, as your Renekton will use his W. We unfortunately do not get the kill, but that is not the point. The point is here, he has to reset and lose an entire wave. I do not shove this wave instantly, as I thought that maybe he could possibly stay, and I wanted to keep the wave on my side. But after a little while, maybe a little bit too long, I discovered that he did take a reset, so the point is now to push the wave out. We want to completely shove the wave and flush the wave down. This way the our minions can crash onto his tower, get killed by his tower, and then the minions will reset back in the middle of the lane. Be careful not to leave the minion wave where it is, because if we keep it on our side, slowly but surely when we come back, our minions will start stacking up under the safety of our tower and push towards him. This means that our minion wave is going to be by his tower, and how Renekton ganked us, their jungler, support or top laner will do the exact same thing to us. And Yasuo will have a nice long lane to use his dash on. That is a very simple mistake to fall into and a trap you must avoid at all times. Notice as we come back to lane, he had shoved out his wave, and now a full cannon wave is under our tower, and we get all these minions. He is level 4, and as we finish taking this entire wave, we go to level 5. This is very significant. Not only are we going to hit level 6 before him, which means we get our power spike ultimate, and we can easily 1v1 or even 1v2 them, we have a full level on him, which means our Q is a lot stronger. Our main harassment tool in this lane that he can't dodge no matter what he does, can't windwall or juke it. So, our harassment's gonna go up, and since we have Ignite, we can take even fewer Q trades to lead up to a lethal, which means we are in the driver's seat and we can control this entire lane. Notice how I'm still respecting him because he has a lot of mobility. I'm just playing black and I want to Q him, so when my Q's off cooldown, I'll back off a little bit. When it comes back up, let's walk up and Q him. When he dashes close to me, I do a point blank Q when he goes around top of us. This is our max damage Q, and it takes quite a big chunk of its HP bar. Now remember, even though he is getting good damage on us, all we need at one point is one more point blank Q with Ignite to kill him. Rel comes in to try to save him in this lane. Now even though there is a man advantage to the enemy team, because of the trades we had taken earlier, he has fallen into lethal range. First of all, use your basic attack to proc his shield. This way he'll be as squishy as possible when you do go all in. We pop Ignite with our ultimate as he walks away. Notice how I don't have enough mana for our Q. I am buying time here to make sure we have enough mana for Q, walk up slowly, then flash ulti Q. In this situation was a little bit risky, he didn't flash out just in time, but it works out perfectly. We not only get his flash, but we kill him, and we get to push out the wave for free. We get a lost chapter and we come back to mid. Now, he's level 6, we're level 7, so we do have a low level lead, so our Q is a higher level than his, and all I want to do is try to Q spam. The wave is in the middle of the lane, so he has a lot of room and a lot of minions to dash onto, as he does here, trying to poke us down. All we need to do is Q spam him down. Play and wait for Ignite to come back up. Play a range, play safe, don't walk up and take free autos, use your range to your advantage, and eventually we end up winning this trade. But we wouldn't have won this trade if we weren't already this far ahead with the lost chapter and the level lead. One very important thing to keep in mind is that when you do get a lead mid, you put a big target on your back. I wasn't paying too close attention, I wasn't thinking about it, but Aatrox does a really good roam down to mid lane. He tries to tower dive me, he doesn't knock me up with the first Q or the second Q, but he hits me eventually with the third Q, which Yasuo follows up with his ulti, and they both escape with Yasuo on very low HP. This is my bad. We gotta really pay attention to where we are in the game and the big target we have on our back. I should have expected something to happen mid lane for them trying to get Yasuo back into the match, because most likely Yasuo was telling the team, hey, I need to get back into this game or I'm going to be very useless. After the death mid lane, the game slowed down quite a little bit. We went bot lane, started farming against the Ziggs, not much was happening. Ended up going mid lane with my team, we got a nice free kill there, but still not too huge of a lead was gained. But I want to fast forward to bot lane. Yasuo still has a level deficit compared to us, we have one level up on him. I want to show you how to play these fights and how one-sided they are at this stage in the game. In this fight, we both have our boots, we both have our first item. I do have a Dark Seal with 2 stacks and a Ruby Crystal advantage. Now Yasuo tries to go and he still thinks he can fight us. We have the damage to kill him. Once he goes in, I pop Ignite, pop a ulti, and we're chasing him down. Now he wants to run away. He's bit off more than he can chew. He gets his NATO up, he tries to throw his NATO, we flash over it. Very important that we flash the NATO. He's not going to ulti onto us, he just wants to CC us. Once we get past that CC, because that's his only CC, we're basically just running him down at will. He tries to run away, and we are at 100% HP when we're able to kill this guy. Just play it slow, play your range champion against a melee, play your range at all times, just walk him down. It's basically that simple at this point. Now, at this point, we have 2 level lead on him. It is set in stone. There is no way he could 1v1 us. Maybe until very late game, we're going to be a menace in these fights. And now at this point, with the ADC being strong, our team wants to team fight. We can go look to team fight and end the game with either a dragon or baron objective. The important concept I want you to take away by watching this is focus on queuing more than Eing. If you focus on queuing versus melee matchups and Eing versus ranged matchups, you will climb so easily and so fast on Swain. It's one of the biggest mistakes. Your Q is one of the strongest laning phase abilities, I would say, in mid lane by far. Against melee matchups, it is so hard for the enemy to deal with it. Think about this from the enemy perspective. You're playing Talon in that matchup. What are you doing? You have to give up CS to try and dodge a Q? You're not going to be able to dodge it. You have to wait for my Q to go on cooldown before you go on CS. And that's very difficult to do, because a lot of people don't actually know Swain's Q cooldown because it's fairly short early. Focus on queuing, harassing them early, taking small but efficient trades. Then when their potions run out or they get low, go for a Q flash ignite. Go for a Q ignite with a couple auto attacks. Play to harass them. If you are ranged versus melee, you need to try and harass them. If you can do this consistently every single match, you will win or should win every single matchup melee that you go for. And if you can do that, you will climb without even trying. It will be an instant boost to your climbing if you can just focus on that. Focus on having good matchups early laning phase, and then you can go and focus on improving a mid-game to late game. But you cannot build a good house on weak foundation. So focus on this, and you'll be absolutely alright. I hope you enjoyed the tips and tricks with Talon and Yasuo, and best of luck killing melees. I'll see you guys again next time. Until then, cheers.